G'day everyone, Jason Nunn from Fisherman's Warehouse Marine, Sweet Street at Warners Bay, your Newcastle Honda marine dealer. Guys, I've just come out and we're going to do a little bit of an early one this week. Main reason is, on the latest forecast that just come through this morning, a lot of wind on Saturday, possibly in excess of 30 knots of west-northwest. And that's really going to sort of hamper what we can do. The lake itself, you can see behind me here, absolutely perfect today, and tomorrow being Friday and the last week of the school holidays won't be too bad, but by the afternoon that west-northwest is going to increase, and Saturday really just looks like a write-off before we even start. It'll still blow a little bit Sunday and then taper off, but Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday next week, guys, looks really, really good, and particularly Wednesday, where actually the wind's going to swing a little bit back to the north and a little bit warmer, and it's been quite cold. Out wide, just had a look at the sea surface chart, guys. That water that's been off Sydney that was holding those bluefin tuna has indeed started to come up the coast, and that down current has pushed out a bit. So middle of next week, when that wind backs right away, a great opportunity to get out and maybe get down on the back of the southern canyons there and have a look for some of these southern bluefin tuna, which I think probably will come up our way, over the next, probably next week. So a good opportunity. Full moon on Sunday night, and you've got some pretty good tides this weekend. 7:30 high tide Saturday morning, and around about 1:45 low tide. The bigger tides, of course, in winter being of the evening, not of the morning. Some really nice fish been coming in, and on the weekend it was a really nice weekend, particularly Sunday. What a cracking day. Some great snapper coming in on these inshore reefs, particularly down south, Catherine Bay, Waibung, down around Birdie. Really nice snapper on the inshore reefs, and quite a few trag for those guys that were able to get out wider. Definitely a few kings down on the Texas, but again, some really nice snapper on those deep reefs. It's just not going to happen though this weekend, unfortunately. Middle of next week, absolute. So just got to be persistent. The beaches this weekend, look, not a big increase in swell, so those heavy northwest, west winds that are going to kick into gear, probably ideal for beach fishing. Stockton Beach, of course, and Belmont Blacksmiths down towards Catho. Salmon, definitely. Few tailor, odd brim, but you're just going to have to try to find somewhere out of the wind. Rock fishing, guys, look, it's like anything this time of year. A lot of ludric around, some very nice brim, but we're now starting to see some really nice drummer. If you can get down there early or late, in particular, probably Saturday afternoon, if that swell doesn't sort of rebound back off that big wind, there'll be some really nice tailor on some of these ocean rock platforms, particularly as that tide moves through just after dark. The lake, which we can see here, has been absolutely on fire. Pat and I had an opportunity to have a fish on Sunday afternoon. A couple of really nice flathead around that 55 centimetre mark. Lost a real good fish that actually grabbed another smaller flathead, threw a couple of small flathead back, got a couple of good tailor, but had a heap of fun at the back of the Air Force Channel. We went up into the channel itself, where the airport, basically near Nauru. There was a few salmon flipping around there. There was a few boats just all having a bit of fun, but there was really no consistency on that run-in tide. We went basically where the western drop over there runs into the lake, and the salmon were going gangbuster. We were throwing surface lures at them, and it was a lot of fun, and they were big fish. They were all those fish, 2.5, 3 kilos, some a bit better, but a lot through there, and that's been most of the reports this week. A lot of salmon down around Pulborough Island, even behind me here, up here at Elibarna. There was a lot of birds working this week. Reports this morning down as far as Bonnells Bay, salmon down there as well, but some very, very good tailor. Now, when we were doing the flathead drift and working some vibes and everything else, quite a few boats, particularly off that fishing point area over towards Coley, trolling around, and we were watching the guys consistently catching tailor of various sizes. However, there's that patch of fish that's been down around Pulborough Island has continued. Got an email this week. Jason McEwen and his son were out on Monday. They got some cracking tailor. A lot of these fish, high 50s. I think the best one I've seen on the stick was around about 59 centimetres. They're big fish. When you start to weigh those fish out, guys, they're fish up and around about that 1.9 kilo. Absolutely beautiful. I did see in the snap that he sent me, he had a few flathead and a nice flounder by the looks of it right on the end. But great fishing, and as he reported, left them biting. So this has been where you've just got to be aware. The trolling around with the deep divers is really essential at this point in time to find the fish. But a lot of these fish, as Jason indicated, were busting up on the surface, a bit like the salmon. And when you start to see tailor of that size, they do look like salmon because they are so big. But we have had a blessed run of winter tailor within Lake Macquarie itself. So something to keep your eye out. I think, look, Saturday, guys, going to be very tough. Western side of the lake, you know, Rathmines, into Wangi, Myuna Bay, you're going to be Bonnells Bay. You're going to be looking for these really protected areas. But when that wind gets over 30 knots, I really think that you've got to just avoid going out. It's probably just too dangerous. Sunday, a little bit better, or indeed Thursday afternoon, Savo, or tomorrow to make effect of it. Next week, some great weather coming through, so we really hope it sort of kicks into gear. Still a few mulloway on these bait schools, but again, a lot of flathead through the system. We're watching a couple of the boats drift past us, and quite often we'll see them put the scoop in and bring up a really nice flathead. So that flathead fishery has been perfect. My good mate Ronnie Owen has been doing some really good stuff within the channel. A week ago there, he had some cracking fish, got 5 flathead, up to 84 centimetres in the channel, fishing with bait. So a lot of these fish still moving in and back into the lake. Last week, or actually early this week, he was able to duck back out again. Some really nice trevally and bream. And that's the sort of stuff that you will see in the channel. And I think this is where you'll have to be, guys, on Saturday with this wind above 30 knots in the channel. Guys, all in all, the sun's out, which is a blessing. It's quite pleasant, but we've got some tough conditions to come through on Saturday into early Sunday, and some great weather happening next week. Hopefully, we'll get some reports, and just by chance, we might get some reports of somebody catching a few bluefin tuna of the southern canyons. I reckon if we're ever going to catch one, it's the middle of next week down on them southerns, because that water is now running uphill and it looks great. I'll see you then.